All right. Hey everybody, I'm just gonna wait here and make sure that it's live and that everyone's here. Hold on, give it a second for people to join. All right. Well, so my name is Lee Kravetz. I'm a writer, and today I am here, I guess, broadcasting from San Francisco, just a little south of San Francisco, and everything's a little weird in the world right now. So I'm really glad to be here with everybody today. And I thought today I would tell the story of the first time I met a Muppet, which is a true story. So about 15 years ago, I was actually one of my first writing gigs was writing for Sesame Street, and it was sort of a dream job because I grew up watching Sesame Street and I loved it. And I arrive in Queens and I walk into Queens Astoria studio, and when I'm there, I walk into a little room and I'm surrounded by familiar faces, and there's some other faces that I don't recognize, and those are the Muppeteers. I met, Elmo and Big Bird and all the Muppeteers, or even the random Muppets, like the random sheep and things like that. And so, but my first assignment when I first walked in was not actually to work on the show, because we had finished the season already, and I was writing stuff for the rest of the year. And this was going to be a live show, I was told, and it was going to be happening in Washington D.C. in about 2 weeks, and all places at the White House. And so I was like, "This is cool. I've never been to the White House, and here I am writing for the Muppets. This is great." Now, but my boss told me that I had to write something that would bring people together. Now, I'll tell you why this was a really tough assignment. The year was 2004, 2005, something like that. And as polarizing as things are today in the world, 2004, 2005 was also a very polarizing time. We were, engulfed in a war in the Middle East, and it was a very unpopular war for those of us who remember it. And it was going to be the thing I was writing for, the live show, was going to be at the White House with the president of the United States, President Bush, there. And uh, also there were going to be senators, and they were going to be soldiers, and they were going to be liberals from PBS, and they were going to be anti-war protesters. And I had to come up with some sort of program that was going to bring people together. And I had no idea what I was doing. So I sat there and I tried writing something, and it was a holiday, so I put some holiday music in and things like that, and some dialogue. And I basically knew I was failing as I was working on it. There was no way this was going to bring people together. I was pretty sure I was going to be kicked out of the White House for being too liberal or something, right? Some liberal Jew from some blue state. So I'm feeling actually pretty nervous about this. We fly to DC, and the night before the show, the entire cast and crew comes together at this restaurant. And it was really cool because it was like this, there was the normal restaurant, and then up a level, like a balcony level, was where we were seated. It was sort of like a private area. And we're sitting there, and the entire cast and crew is there. You've got, Bob, Gordon, Maria, the classic cast. But then you've also got Big Bird, and you've got Snuffleupagus, and you've got Elmo and Grover, and of course you've even got, again, those ancillary Muppets, that the weird sheep and the weird penguins and all those sorts of things there. But they don't have their puppets with them, or their Muppets. They're just sitting there, and they're performers, and they're actors, and they're really cool people. And we're sitting there having this really great time. We're getting nervous about the next day. And right around the time the second course shows up and everyone's having a little bit of wine, the Muppeteers start asking for things in their Muppet voices. And they'd ask the waiter for, an extra glass of water or a new napkin or something. But Big Bird would say it in his Big Bird voice. And, Elmo would say, I'd like to have, an extra glass of wine. Or actually, the Muppets didn't drink. That was one of their things. But they'd ask for something, but they'd say it in their Muppet voices. And then Bob and Gordon, Roscoe is his real name, and Maria would say their things. And at some point in the middle of dinner, people just start singing at the table, which is, I guess, what the Sesame Street crew does. They just sort of sing, and this is who they are. And they really were wonderful people. And they're sitting there and they're singing the theme song to Sesame Street, which is what you do, I guess, if you're from Sesame Street. And all of a sudden, people start creeping up the stairs and peeking around the corner. And they start to notice that, oh my God, it's the Sesame Street crew and cast. And as the night goes on, there's more and more people on the stairwell. And then by the end of the night, people downstairs, in the open, below the balcony are singing. They're singing the Rubber Ducky song. They're singing Somebody Come and Play. And the whole restaurant just emerges into this like love fest. And the chef comes out and gives us all free desserts. And we all, of course, all start singing C is for Cookie. And it was wonderful. And it made me start to think that, of course, the next day we all went to the White House, and it was a politicized event because everything in the White House is political. And all the people were there, the senators and the war protesters and the liberals and the soldiers and all these people. But, for that one moment at the restaurant, words couldn't transcend our feelings, our anger, our hatred, our bitterness. But nostalgia is sort of like this acetone. It's like acid. And it cuts through everything. And we always sort of have these foundational experiences in life as children where we're not pro things and not anti things. We're not good or bad or angry or sad. We're just human beings. And in that moment, nostalgia sort of cut through all of that and reminded us who we were. So it's really sort of a goodness, right, that I'm talking about, a goodness that we all sort of carry. And if we can kind of latch onto nostalgia and bring it back to that goodness, then it does bring us together. So anyways, a couple of years later, the war is still going on. The war goes on for about 3 or 4 more years. And I went on to write for other TV shows and write books and things like that, which has been fun. And, a little bit later, one of the Muppet performers was arrested and another Muppet performer died. And today the world is just as polarized, if not more polarized than ever before. And my kids worry. I have 2 little kids, and my kids worry about this stuff, and I worry about this stuff and what is going to bring us together. And we're always scared. And when we're really scared, one of the first things I did as sort of a comfort buy when the pandemic hit was to buy myself a new record player. It's true. I can kind of show you. I have a record player right over there. And I have my old records from the 1970s and early 80s from Sesame Street. And every once in a while, I'll put on a record and we'll play things like Somebody Come and Play with Me, or These Are the People in My Neighborhood. And we fall back into our inherent goodness at that point. And I know, just like my kids know, and everybody who's sort of listening now hopefully knows, that everything is going to be all right. Anyways, thank you.